When silence meets silence, the game changes. Most men panic, break first, and run back begging for her attention, only to end up more powerless than ever before. But this is where the real test of your masculine energy begins. If she's also pulling away, you have two options: either crumble under the weight of uncertainty or rise above and show that your life, your mission, your self respect, and your energy are not dependent on her reaction. Watch till the end, because the way you handle this phase determines whether she comes back respecting you or forgets you ever existed. Most men underestimate silence. They see it as emptiness, as a void, as something to be filled immediately. The moment she stops calling, stops texting, stops giving them the attention they are used to, panic takes over. Their fingers itch to type a long message. Their ego tells them to call just to check in, and their emotions push them toward begging for validation. But what they don't realize is that silence is not the absence of communication. It's a language of its own. And if you don't know how to read it, you will always misinterpret it. Silence has more weight than words, more depth than conversations, and more power than arguments. It can make or break the entire dynamic between you and her, depending on how you handle it. When a woman goes silent, most men assume she doesn't care anymore. They immediately translate that into rejection, into abandonment, into loss. But here's the truth: silence doesn't always mean disinterest. Sometimes it's a test, sometimes it's a reset, and sometimes it's a way to see whether you're as strong as you say you are. A woman will use silence to measure your self control, your emotional discipline, and your stability. She wants to see if your confidence collapses the moment she withdraws her energy. And the tragedy is that most men confirm her doubts by reacting impulsively, by chasing desperately, by proving that their strength was only a mask that vanishes when she's not around. The power of silence is not about doing nothing. It's about doing the right kind of nothing. It's about restraint. It's about holding back when every cell in your body wants to reach out. It's about showing that your world doesn't shatter when she removes herself from it for a while. That composure, that unshakable calm speaks volumes more than any text you could send. Think about it. When you stay silent, you're not just ignoring her, you're communicating indirectly that you are not desperate, that your life is full, and that her attention is not the center of your existence. That's the energy that pulls her back, because women are drawn to stability and control, not to panic and neediness. Silence also shifts the balance of power in ways words never can. The one who can stay silent longest is the one who has the most control. When she doesn't text and you don't text either, something powerful happens. She starts wondering, she starts thinking about you, questioning why you haven't reached out, replaying memories in her head, and creating scenarios that weren't there before. That wondering is what triggers her curiosity, and curiosity is the foundation of attraction. If you rush to break the silence, you steal that process away. You rob her of the chance to feel your absence, to miss you, to value your presence again. Think about the last time you gave in to the urge to break no contact. What happened? Did it make her value you more, or did she act colder, more distant, less impressed? That's because you confirmed her belief that she had all the control. You revealed that she doesn't even need to reach out because you'll always come running. But when you hold silence with strength, the entire narrative flips. Instead of you needing her, she starts questioning whether she lost you. Instead of you chasing her, she starts feeling the void of your energy. That's the true power of silence. It makes her confront the reality of losing you without you ever having to say a single word. Most men hate silence because it forces them to sit with themselves. When there are no texts, no calls, no notifications, you're left with your own thoughts. That's when insecurity creeps in, when doubts whisper, when fear tries to control you. But if you can master that inner battle, if you can remain calm in the storm of your own mind, you rise to a level of strength that very few men ever reach. Because the real challenge is not waiting for her, it's mastering yourself in the wait. That's what silence demands: self mastery, patience, discipline. And that is what makes silence such a powerful weapon in the hands of a man who knows how to use it. One of the biggest mistakes men make when a woman goes silent or when she pulls away is that they make every single moment about her. They obsess over what she is doing, who she is talking to, whether she still thinks about them or whether she has already replaced them. Their entire world shrinks down to one question: does she still want me? That obsession is poison. It takes away your power, it takes away your peace, and it makes you lose touch with the one person you should be focused on the most: you. The truth is, the more you make this about her, the weaker you become. But the more you make it about you, the stronger and more magnetic you grow. When you put all your energy into her, you are handing her complete control over your emotions. If she responds, you feel high. If she doesn't, you feel low. If she posts something online, you overanalyze it for hours. That's not love. That's dependency. And dependency kills attraction faster than anything else. A woman doesn't respect a man who crumbles without her. She doesn't admire a man whose entire sense of worth is tied to whether she gives him attention. She might tolerate it for a while, but deep down she loses interest because she knows you are no longer leading. You are following her cues like a puppet. Making it about you means redirecting your focus and energy inward. Instead of asking, what is she thinking about me? Start asking, what am I building for myself? Instead of wasting hours stalking her socials, invest those hours into your own development. Read books, learn new skills, advance in your career, improve your physical health. Go to the gym, not because you want her to notice you later, but because you owe it to yourself to become stronger, healthier, and more disciplined. When you shift the energy back to yourself, something powerful happens. Your life begins to expand again. You no longer feel like you're trapped waiting on her next move because you're busy creating moves of your own. This shift is magnetic because women can feel it. They can sense when a man is consumed by them, and they can sense when a man is consumed by his purpose. A man who makes everything about her suffocates her. A man who makes everything about himself inspires her. Think about it. Why are women attracted to leaders, to men who are driven, to men who seem unstoppable? It's because those men are not waiting around for female validation. They are too focused on their own vision, their own goals, their own lives. That energy creates respect, and respect fuels attraction. The irony is that when you stop making it about her, she starts making it about you. When she sees that you're not chasing, that you're not desperate, that you're not collapsing without her, curiosity sparks inside her. She begins to wonder how you can move forward so confidently. She starts to question whether you've outgrown her, whether you've replaced her, whether you've elevated beyond the point of needing her. That's when she feels the pull, not when you sit around crying for her attention, but when you show that your life is so full, she has to fight for a place in it. But this isn't about pretending, it's about truly building. You can't fake self-growth, you can't fake progress. If you sit around depressed but post fake happy pictures online, she'll feel the hollowness. If you try to make it look like you've moved on when you haven't, she'll sense the desperation underneath it. Real power comes from genuinely investing in yourself, genuinely redirecting that energy, genuinely genuinely making your world bigger than her. That authenticity is what makes you stand out because very few men actually do it. Most men waste their silence by waiting. Rare men use their silence by building. Making it about you also means healing yourself emotionally. If you can't be happy without her, then you'll never be happy with her. If your joy depends on her response, then your power is already lost. Learn to find fulfillment in your own path, in your progress, in your purpose. Because when you do, you not only attract her back, you also attract a better version of yourself. And that version is far more valuable than any temporary validation from a woman who might not even know what she wants. Detachment is one of the most misunderstood yet most powerful dynamics in relationships. Men often confuse detachment with indifference, as if being detached means you don't care, you don't love, or you don't value her. That's not detachment, that's emotional numbness, and it doesn't create attraction. Real detachment is different. Real detachment is the ability to want someone, to value them, to appreciate them, but not to need them. It's the ability to stand firm in your own identity and not collapse the moment someone withdraws their affection. And in the eyes of a woman, that quality is magnetic because it shows her you are not dependent on her for your sense of strength, confidence, or self-worth. The reality is this: the more attached you are to the outcome of a relationship, the weaker you appear. When every move you make is designed to win her approval, she feels it. When you sit around anxiously waiting for her texts, she senses it. When you react to every little thing she does, you are silently communicating one message: that she controls you. And a man who can be controlled so easily loses his value in her eyes. She doesn't want a man who needs her to breathe. She wants a man who chooses her out of abundance. Detachment gives you that abundance. It shows that your life is bigger than one person's validation and that your emotions are not at the mercy of her actions. The magnetic pull of detachment comes from the uncertainty it creates. When you're overly attached, she knows you'll always be there. There's no mystery, no challenge, no curiosity. But when you are detached, when you're not chasing, not begging, not blowing up her phone, she starts to wonder. She starts asking herself questions. Why isn't he breaking? Why isn't he chasing like other men? Has he moved on? Is he losing interest in me? That wondering makes her think about you more than if you were flooding her with attention. Because in relationships, mystery fuels attraction and detachment naturally creates mystery. Think about how many men destroy attraction by showing too much attachment too soon. They meet a woman, she gives them attention, and suddenly she becomes their entire universe. They cancel plans, stop focusing on their work, neglect their passions, and revolve everything around her. At first, she may enjoy the attention, but soon she begins to feel suffocated. She realizes he has no life of his own, no individuality outside of her, and that instantly makes him less desirable. Now, compare that to the man who remains detached, the man who enjoys her company, who values her presence, but who never abandons his mission for her. That man becomes irresistible because she can feel that his world is bigger than just her. She is drawn into his orbit instead of being expected to be his entire universe. Detachment also creates respect. Women respect men who are in control of themselves. If she pulls away and you chase, you've confirmed that you're driven by impulse, not discipline. But if she pulls away and you remain calm, focused, and composed, she sees that you're not moved by temporary emotions. That stability is rare, and rare qualities are attractive. Most men are emotionally reactive, but the detached man responds with calmness, and that calmness makes her lean in instead of pulling further away. But here's the most important part: detachment has to be real. You can't fake it. You can't pretend to be detached while secretly obsessing over her every move. If your silence is full of anxiety, she'll feel it. If your distance is a game, she'll sense it. Real detachment comes from actually letting go of the outcome, from genuinely building a life that is so fulfilling and purpose driven that her presence is a bonus, not a requirement. That's why detachment is magnetic. It doesn't come from manipulation. It comes from genuine self confidence, from a life so complete that no one person can make or break it. And when a woman encounters a man like that, she pays attention. She realizes he's different from the rest. He's not begging, not chasing, not collapsing under pressure. He's strong, self sufficient, and focused on something greater than just her. That realization makes her curious, makes her want to prove that she's worthy of his attention. And that shift flips the dynamic completely, because when you are detached, you're no longer the one chasing her. She starts chasing you. One of the hardest truths men need to accept is that when a woman goes silent, when she mirrors your no contact, when she refuses to make the first move, she is not just being cold, she is testing your patience. Women test men not when things are comfortable, but when things are uncertain, when the emotional pressure is high, and when most men reveal their true weakness. Silence is not just the absence of communication, it is a battlefield. And in that battlefield, the man who loses his patience loses the entire war. Because the moment you break, the moment you give in, the moment you reach out with panic, she gets the answer to the question she has been asking all along. Is he really as strong as he pretends to be, or does his strength collapse when I withhold my attention? Patience is not about waiting quietly. It is about holding your frame while you wait. Most men think they are being patient when in reality they are just sitting around obsessing, overthinking, and waiting for the clock to run out. That's not patience. That's emotional desperation disguised as discipline. Real patience is calm. Real patience is unbothered. Real patience is when you are so focused on your mission, your goals, your self growth, that time no longer feels like punishment. She might think she is making you sweat with her silence, but a man of true patience doesn't sweat. He simply continues living, thriving, and growing as if nothing has changed. That composure is what separates you from the weak majority who crumble under pressure. You have to understand that patience is a filter women use. They want to see how much pressure you can handle because pressure reveals character. Any man can look confident when she's giving him love, attention, and affection. But what happens when all of that is taken away? What happens when she withholds her energy, when she becomes distant, when she no longer feeds your ego? Do you stay strong or do you break? That's the real question, and her silence is designed to force you to answer it. When you react emotionally, when you blow up her phone, when you show that you can't handle the discomfort of waiting, she instantly sees you as weaker than she thought. But when you remain patient, composed, and focused, you earn a new level of respect because you've proven that your strength is not dependent on her attention. Patience also amplifies your value. The man who cannot wait comes across as desperate. The man who can wait without complaint comes across as valuable. Why? Because patience communicates abundance. If you are patient, you're showing that you have other priorities, other opportunities, and other sources of fulfillment beyond her. You're silently communicating that her silence doesn't control your emotions, that you are not shaken by temporary distance. That kind of stability is extremely rare. And when a woman feels it, she realizes she is dealing with a man who is not ordinary. And when she realizes she is dealing with a man who is not ordinary, attraction naturally builds again because rarity always creates value. Most men fail these tests because they want instant reassurance. They want to know right now whether she still loves them, whether she still cares, whether she will come back. That impatience is exactly what destroys their chances because women don't respect men who need constant reassurance. They respect men who can sit in uncertainty without falling apart. They respect men who can hold their frame even when they don't know the outcome. That's what patience is. It's your ability to remain unshaken in the face of uncertainty. And that ability is what separates men who are chased from men who are forgotten. The deeper truth is that patience isn't really about her, it's about you. It's about whether you can control your impulses, whether you can master your emotions, whether you can rise above your fears instead of letting them control you. If you can pass this test of patience, you won't just earn her respect, you'll also earn respect for yourself because you'll realize that you don't need instant answers. You don't need constant validation. You don't need her to regulate your emotions. You'll realize that your strength is self sustained, that your value is self generated, and that your calmness under pressure is your greatest power. When silence enters a relationship, when she pulls away, or when she mirrors your no contact, most men make the same destructive mistake. They let all their energy get trapped in overthinking her. They replay the relationship in their minds 1,000 times. They stalk her social media, they analyze her every move, and they sit in their rooms wondering if she still thinks about them. This obsessive cycle eats away at their confidence, drains their masculine energy, and keeps them stuck in a loop of desperation. But here's the truth: energy is never destroyed, it's only redirected. The very energy you waste worrying about her can become the fuel that builds your future, if only you decide to redirect it to your mission. Every man has two choices when he faces silence: sink into weakness or rise into purpose. Weakness looks like sleepless nights, endless texting drafts that are never sent, late night overthinking sessions, and neglecting your own life while waiting for her to validate you again. Purpose looks completely different. Purpose is when you say, "She is silent, but I won't be. I will let my actions speak. I will let my growth answer the questions her silence has created." Instead of sitting around waiting for her to give you permission to move forward, you use this phase to sharpen yourself. You train harder, you work smarter, you build stronger. You refuse to let her silence stop your momentum. That is what it means to redirect your energy to your mission. Women are not attracted to men who orbit them 24/7. They are attracted to men who have a world of their own, men who are building something greater, men who have a mission that cannot be abandoned. If she sees that her silence has paralyzed you, she loses respect. She knows that she can control your energy with one move. But if she sees that her silence has only pushed you deeper into your mission, she feels your strength. She realizes that you are not just a man who needs her to function. You are a man who functions regardless, who moves with purpose whether she is beside you or not. That realization creates respect, and respect is what keeps attraction alive. Redirecting your energy also gives you back control. When you obsess over her, you give her the steering wheel of your emotions. When you focus on your mission, you take that steering wheel back. You begin to control your own time, your own growth, your own results. Instead of waiting for her to validate you, your achievements begin to validate you. Instead of seeking her attention, you create results that demand attention from the world. That's the beauty of masculine energy. It thrives when it is applied to building, creating, and conquering challenges, not when it is wasted in waiting and worrying. And here's the irony: when you stop chasing her and start chasing your mission, she feels it. She senses the shift in your energy. Suddenly, she is no longer the center of your world, and that makes her curious again. She starts asking herself, what is he so focused on? Why is he not desperate for me anymore? Has he leveled up without me? That curiosity is what pulls her back in, not your endless attempts to win her over with words. Because at the end of the day, women are not inspired by men who beg. They are inspired by men who build. Redirecting your energy to your mission also protects you from emotional self destruction. When you're too focused on her, every small move she makes feels like life or death. But when you are deeply focused on your goals, her silence doesn't sting as much. It simply becomes background noise. Your achievements, your growth, and your vision give you a sense of fulfillment that her silence cannot take away. That is why this principle is so powerful, because it shifts you from being a man who reacts to her to being a man who creates his own momentum. If you use this phase wisely, her silence will become the very reason you achieve breakthroughs in your life. The energy you once wasted chasing her can be the same energy that gets you in the best shape of your life, that helps you start the business you've been delaying, that pushes you to develop skills you never had time for. The silence becomes a gift because it forces you to turn inward and ask, who do I want to become when I'm not distracted by her attention? And when you answer that question with discipline and action, you emerge not only as a stronger man, but as a man she cannot ignore. There is a brutal truth that most men don't want to accept. Sometimes when you go silent, she goes silent too. Sometimes when you pull back, she doesn't chase, she doesn't break, she doesn't reach out. And that silence feels like a dagger because deep down you start to wonder if you've lost her forever. This is the exact moment where most men lose themselves. They convince themselves that if they don't make the move, she never will. And so they rush back with desperate energy, trying to reignite something that was already slipping away. But the truth is, if she matches your silence, you have to let it be. You cannot force her hand, you cannot demand her attention, and you cannot lower your value by proving that you need her more than she needs you. Letting it be is not weakness, it's strength. Weak men think strength is about chasing harder, about breaking the silence, about proving they care more. But real strength is the ability to accept reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. If she is silent, then she has made a choice. She has chosen not to prioritize you, not to meet you halfway, not to break her pride for the sake of connection. And as painful as that realization may feel, it is clarity. Her silence is telling you what words never could, that she is not willing to invest at the same level as you. And when you understand that, the most powerful thing you can do is to step back with dignity and let it be. Because here's the reality: when you chase a woman who is matching your silence, you teach her that she never has to try. You teach her that no matter how much she pulls away, no matter how cold she becomes, you will always be the one to bridge the gap. That doesn't make her respect you more. It makes her take you for granted. It makes her feel like she can withhold effort and you'll still deliver yours. And in the long run, that imbalance kills attraction. A relationship where only one person invests is not a relationship. It's a slow death of your self-respect. Letting it be also creates a filter for your life. It filters out the women who are never serious about you, who are never willing to meet you halfway, who are never ready to build with you, because a woman who truly values you will not stay silent forever. She might test you, she might pull back temporarily, but if she truly wants you in her life, she will eventually break the silence. If she doesn't, then her absence is your blessing in disguise. It's painful at first, but in reality, you are being freed from someone who wasn't aligned with you, who wasn't willing to match your effort, who wasn't truly invested. And that space allows you to meet someone who will. Most men struggle with letting it be because their ego screams for control. They want to force an outcome. They want to guarantee a result. They want to bend reality to fit their desires. But relationships don't work like that. You cannot force someone to value you. You cannot talk someone into caring. You cannot beg someone into respecting you. Respect is earned, care is given freely, and value is recognized naturally. If she chooses not to see your worth, then the most powerful move you can make is to accept her decision without resistance. That is the essence of letting it be. It's choosing self respect over self betrayal. And ironically, when you let it be, when you don't chase, when you don't break, when you simply live your life and move forward, that's often when she starts to feel the weight of her silence. Because instead of seeing a desperate man who can't live without her, she sees a man who refuses to lose himself over her. That image is powerful. It makes her wonder whether she underestimated you, whether she miscalculated your strength, whether she let go of a man she may never find again. But the point is, you don't wait for that. You don't live your life hoping she will come back. You live your life as if she won't. And if she does, it's because she recognized your strength, not because you chased her weakness. Letting it be is a practice of trust. Trust in yourself, trust in your value, trust in the belief that what is meant for you will not require you to destroy your dignity to keep it. It's the ultimate sign of maturity and strength. Because while most men break under the pressure of silence, the rare man understands that silence is not his enemy. It's simply the universe revealing where true alignment lies. And if she chooses to match your silence permanently, then she has shown you that she was not meant to walk with you in the first place. At the end of the day, silence is not your enemy. It is your greatest teacher. It exposes your impatience, it reveals your insecurities, and it forces you to confront whether you are truly strong or only pretending to be. If she goes no contact with you, it's not the time to collapse, it's not the time to chase, and it's not the time to question your worth. It's the time to rise. It's the time to turn inward, to focus on yourself, to strengthen your mission, and to prove to yourself that your life is not defined by her presence or absence. Understand the power of silence, and you'll stop seeing it as punishment and start seeing it as opportunity. Don't make this journey about her. Make it about you. Detach from the outcome because detachment is what makes you magnetic. Realize that her silence may be nothing more than a test of your patience, and only the men who remain unshaken will pass it. Redirect your energy to your mission because that's where your true fulfillment and purpose live. And finally, if she chooses to match your silence and never returns, let it be. Because a man who respects himself enough to walk away from anyone unwilling to meet him halfway is a man who will always attract better. The choice is simple, but not easy. Either you let silence break you or you let it build you. Either you chase and lose yourself or you stand firm and grow into the man you were meant to be. Silence will always reveal the truth. And the truth is, the strongest men are the ones who never beg for validation because they already know their value.